But to hone in on one element of this debate, and what do you make of the burqa debate in this country, and what does it say about the state of our nation?
I think the burqa debate is very interesting. It's something that crops up every now and then, you know, this catchy little alliteration, ban the burqa, crops up every now and then. And it's interesting that we're having the discussion now as well as a discussion on religious freedom. So we have sections of the community who are saying we absolutely want religious freedom in the wake of the Marriage Equality Act. They're worried about their own religious freedoms, but at the same time are also saying we want to ban the burqa. Now, I don't like the burqa. I don't particularly agree with it. I don't want it for myself, but I think if we're going to look at the principle of equality, if we're looking at the principle of freedom, then we have to accept that we are giving equality and freedom to some things we might not like and we might not agree with. But we can't talk about religious freedom and the freedom of religion and belief and exclude some people from that freedom.
Jane, what's your take on that burqa debate?
Yeah, see, I think we have to be stronger in what we believe, in that as a collective, you can't legislate necessarily for minorities. And I do admire countries that have been strong enough to say, really respect your right to wear that religious, you know, headdress or whatever, but in our country that's not a standard, and that you know, in public that's not acceptable. It's not racist in itself, in that it's not inciting hatred. It's simply noting difference. And I think that's one thing that we need to watch in this debate. Noting a different characteristic isn't necessarily prejudicial. So noting that someone has brown skin doesn't mean you're racist. It's simply noting difference. It's not, there's no, I think we get so bent out of shape, and Australia has been quite wussy in the lack of strength in standing up for who we are and what we want to be. Other nations have no trouble with that. You know, I've travelled extensively in Asia. Asian nations are very clear about you cannot own land if you are not, you know, Thai-born, Japanese-born, any of these countries. We get so worried about offending people that we end up with this sort of gelatinous blob of nothingness, and then we try and scramble.
What are some examples of that? Where have we been wussy?
I just think sometimes, you know, we need to, this political correctness has gone nuts, in that we're so worried about offending some group. And maybe, you know, people will be offended regardless. I've learned that as a columnist. People will be offended even if you write about, you know, the most innocuous topic, because that's the nature of, you know, the human experience is we have variation. What we do need to retain, though, I would suggest, is respect. It's okay to disagree without wanting the other one to die, you know?